All right, let's talk about something we're all after, confidence. We usually think of it as this big, loud feeling we have to pump ourselves up for, like before a presentation or a big meeting. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? What if real, lasting confidence isn't built in those big moments, but in the tiny, silent habits nobody ever sees? Well, that's what we're going to break down today.
So this gets right to the heart of it. Is confidence something you're supposed to force? You stand in the mirror, you tell yourself you're a champion, and you try to will the feeling into existence? Or is it something else entirely? Is it maybe more like a weather forecast that your brain is constantly running in the background, just predicting your chances of success based on all the data it has on you?
And yeah, the answer here is pretty blunt. Most of us have been taught that it's a feeling we need to chase. But according to the thinking we're exploring, that's just not how it works. Confidence isn't about what you want to feel. It's about what your brain has already concluded is true about you based on your actions.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with this idea of your brain's hidden scorecard. Then we'll get super practical and dive into 3 sets of habits that actually change that score. Habits of action, habits of authority, and habits of resilience. And stick around, because at the end, we'll see how it all comes together for a pretty profound transformation.
Okay, this is the main idea, so let's really dig in. Your brain isn't just sitting around waiting for you to win a big award to decide you're a confident person. Nope, it's much more subtle. Think of it like it's running a quiet, 24/7 background check on you. And it's building this model, this profile of who you are. And it doesn't build it from your hopes or your dreams, but from your tiniest, most consistent, everyday behaviors.
So this model, what is it really? It's basically your brain's internal resume of you. It's a living document that gets updated with every single tiny thing you do or don't do. Every time you hesitate to speak up, that's a data point. Every time you immediately start a small task, that's another data point. And this model is what ultimately decides whether you feel that buzz of confidence or that sinking feeling of doubt.
And this quote just nails it. This reframes the entire game. Trying to fight your feelings, to just feel more confident, is like yelling at the weather. It's pointless. The real work, the only work, is in changing the evidence. You have to feed your brain new data, new patterns, over and over again until it has no choice but to change its prediction about you.
So how do we start feeding it that new data? Well, we begin with our first set of habits, the habits of action. This is all about closing the gap between thinking about doing something and actually doing it. We're targeting hesitation at its root.
Check this out. On the left, you've got the default brain. Its mantra is, "I'll do it later." It hesitates. And your brain logs that hesitation, not just as procrastination, but as proof that the task is scary or difficult. But over on the right, the confident brain runs on a totally different operating system, initiation. The moment an idea pops up, it moves. The source suggests this 3 to 5 second rule. It's not about being disciplined, it's about being fast.
So here are the 2 habits in practice. First up is micro-initiation. It's so simple. You just start. You don't have to finish the project. You just have to open the file. You don't have to write the whole email. Just type the subject line. This tiny forward motion screams to your brain, we are the kind of person who acts. The second habit is regulating your reaction time. So when something unexpected hits you, a critical comment, a problem at work, instead of that knee-jerk emotional reaction, you create a 1-second pause, just one breath. That little space tells your brain, hey, I'm in charge here, not the situation.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? With every little hesitation, with every panicked reaction, are we just sending a steady stream of signals to our own brain that confirm our worst fears about ourselves, that we can't handle it? And this goes even deeper when we look at our next set of habits. And that brings us to our next category, the habits of authority. Now, this isn't about being bossy. This is about how you communicate, not just with other people, but with yourself. It's about taking up your own mental space.
This slide shows the contrast perfectly. The default brain tends to over-explain. It adds extra words, disclaimers, and justifications because deep down, it carries this belief that my words aren't enough on their own. The confident brain, on the other hand, operates with precision. It says what it means, and then it stops, because it trusts that its position, its words, have weight.
The 2 habits here are just game changers. First, reduce self-explanation. Practice it. Give shorter answers. Cut out all those little phrases like, well, this is just my opinion, but trust your statement to stand on its own. Second, and this is huge, you've got to close your cognitive loops.
You know all those unfinished tasks, unmade decisions, and unsent emails swirling around in your head? That's like having 50 tabs open in your brain's browser. It creates this constant low-grade hum of chaos. You have to be ruthless. Finish the task, schedule a time to do it, or consciously delete it. Get it out of your head. Every loop you close sends a powerful signal of control and certainty to your brain.
And now for our last set of habits. And honestly, these might be the most powerful of all. These are the habits of resilience. This is what makes your confidence solid and unshakable, instead of something that shatters the moment things get tough.
This is such a critical distinction. The default brain personalizes discomfort. When a task is hard, or you feel awkward, or you fail at something, the brain immediately jumps to the conclusion, this feels bad, therefore I am bad. I'm not good enough. It makes a judgment about your identity. But the confident brain does something totally different. It normalizes discomfort. It thinks, okay, this is hard, this is awkward, and that's part of the process. It's supposed to feel this way. The difficulty is about the task. It's not a verdict on you.
So here are the two habits. First, you have to actively normalize discomfort. When you fail or feel awkward, you have to consciously relabel that experience. It's not proof you're an imposter, it's just feedback. It's just part of the journey. Second, and this is the absolute peak of self-trust, maintain your consistency. Most of us let our actions be dictated by our mood. We feel good, we do good work. We feel bad, we slack off. That inconsistency tells your brain it can't rely on you. The goal isn't to be a perfect robot. It's just to be predictable. You show up and you do the thing, even the minimum, whether you feel like it or not. Your brain learns that your actions are in charge, not your fleeting emotions.
So let's pull all of this together. The real transformation here isn't about learning a new trick or faking it till you make it. It's a complete shift in focus. You stop trying to feel confident, and you start quietly becoming the kind of person whose actions consistently prove that they are in control, that they have authority, and that they are resilient. At the end of the day, you can't argue with your own brain. You can't use affirmations to convince it of something your actions contradict. It's an evidence-based machine. It is simply watching your patterns, how fast you act, how precisely you speak, how consistently you show up. And based on that raw data, it then decides what feelings you get to have access to. Your actions create the evidence that permits the feeling. And we'll end on this thought right here. When you focus on these tiny, silent habits, the whole goal changes. You stop worrying about pumping yourself up for the big moments. Instead, day by day, micro-action by micro-action, you are rewriting your internal resume. You are quietly building a mountain of evidence until one day you just realize you don't need to force confidence anymore, because confidence is no longer a feeling you chase. It's simply who you are.